Welcome to The Explainer. We're going to try and solve a real puzzle today, something that happened in the soybean market that honestly had a lot of people scratching their heads.
So get this, on Thursday, August 21st, soybeans just took off. We're talking a 20-cent jump on the Chicago Board of Trade to settle at $10.56 a bushel. But here's the kicker. The real star of the show, the thing that was really driving this whole thing, it was soybean oil. That was the clear leader.
All right, so let's dig in. This just doesn't add up at first glance, right? We're on the brink of what everyone expects to be a huge harvest. So why the sudden rally? Well, we're going to put on our detective hats and follow 3 key clues to see if we can figure out what's really going on.
Okay, clue number 1. This one takes us right out of those trading pits and puts us squarely in the fields of the American Midwest thanks to some fresh data from the Pro Farmer Crop Tour.
Now, if you're not familiar with it, the Pro Farmer Crop Tour is a huge deal in the ag world. Think of it as the ultimate reality check. It's literally boots on the ground where scouts go out and physically check the crops in 7 key states. It gives the market a real-world perspective that you just don't get from the official government numbers.
And this is where things start to get really interesting. The tour found this massive contrast. On one hand, you had corn, which, frankly, was looking pretty lackluster compared to what everyone was hoping for. But soybeans? Oh, that was a whole different story.
The big takeaway here, soybeans had record-breaking potential. And I'm not just talking good numbers coming out of places like Illinois and Iowa. We're talking historic numbers. These field reports confirmed it. An absolutely massive soybean harvest was coming.
And this quote right here, it just nails the market psychology, you know? It wasn't just that soybeans were looking strong on their own. They looked even better when you put them side by side with the disappointing corn news. It's all about that relative strength.
All right, so let's keep going. Clue number 2. This one wasn't hiding in a cornfield. Nope, for this we have to look at some persistent rumors that were swirling around Washington, D.C. Rumors that have a direct line to the soybean market.
And when we talk about soybeans, it's not always just about the beans. We're talking about soybean oil. See, it's a supercritical ingredient for biofuels, and that connection is what brings us to a key piece of government policy that had traders absolutely buzzing.
So here's how the speculation was playing out. The market was holding its breath, waiting for a big announcement from the EPA. The word on the street was that new rules were coming that would basically force the big refineries to blend more biofuels into their mix. And what does that do? It directly cranks up the demand for, you guessed it, soybean oil.
You can just see the chain reaction here, right? A whisper in Washington creates real buying pressure on soybean oil futures in Chicago. And when soybean oil gets stronger, it helps pull up the whole soybean complex. We're talking meal, oil, and the beans themselves. It's all connected.
Okay, so we've got strong crop data, we've got positive policy buzz. What's the third and final clue? Well, for this one we have to look at the global picture. And it all comes down to one simple word: demand. Even with a pretty tricky trade environment, new export sales for soybeans were looking good. Analysts were calling it a solid start to the year. The bottom line is, the rest of the world was buying, and that put a nice firm floor under prices.
And this isn't just a U.S. story. Globally, soybean oil is in a constant battle with rivals like palm oil. And check this out. On the very same day, Malaysian palm oil futures were actually down, but Chicago's soy oil, it was surging. That kind of split just screams relative strength in the global market.
All right, there we have it, our 3 clues. An amazing-looking crop, buzz about biofuel policy, and really solid global demand. So, let's put all these pieces together and finally solve this thing.
So what's the big takeaway? It's that this rally wasn't about any one thing. It was this powerful convergence, right? You had all this positive news hitting the market at the same time, creating what was basically a perfect storm for prices to go higher.
This really lays it all out. Now, that first point about supply, you might be looking at that and thinking, wait a minute, how is a huge crop a good thing for prices? And that's a great question. It's because those fantastic soybean reports confirming this amazing, high-quality crop landed right at the same moment that the corn reports were, well, a letdown. So traders flocked to soybeans as the stronger story. You add in the policy rumors, the solid exports, and boom, all 3 pillars, supply, policy, and demand, just lined up perfectly.
So, at the end of the day, why does one single rally matter? Well, for farmers, it was a fantastic selling opportunity right before harvest. But for the rest of us, it's just this incredible lesson in how connected everything is. Think about it. Crop reports from Iowa, political rumors in D.C., and buying decisions halfway around the world, they all come together to create these real, tangible economic ripples.
What a day like this really shows us
is just how fast the market can pivot, right? It can turn on a dime. And all those factors we just talked about, they're still out there. They're still in play. Which leaves us with the big question, the one that's going to define this market for the next few weeks. Is all this bullish news enough to keep the momentum going? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.